Hi, good evening. This is the big one. Starmer, should he stay or should he go now? I wrote that title about 3 hours ago. Then the shit really hit the fan. His right hand man, so to speak, has gone. You won't know him, that's his face there for you. But Morgan McSWEENey has resigned. Did he resign? Was he pushed under the bus? Who cares? All I know is, Starmer, the clock is ticking and it's really speeded up. In fact, I spent an hour polishing my dancing shoes because I can't wait to dance on Keir Starmer's political grave. This man has single-handedly, well, along with Morgan, wrecked our great country, attacked the people who were born and bred here, in favour of people who want to come over and get in their flip-flops, in their designer gear at Dover. The man's a disgrace. He's got the backbone of a jelly. He's got the spine of an amoeba. And this man, in 18 months, with 18 U-turns, has deliberately, in my opinion, tried to wreck our great country. And, of course, the final act, he wants to get us back in the EU. He is a traitor. The sooner he goes, the better. And I think today is now very, very much the beginning of, well, not the beginning, it's the second act of the end. It's got to be, hasn't it? And so I'm asking you your views. Should he stay or should he go? Who would you like to replace him? And here's a more difficult question, because we've been talking about, would it be Lammy? Would it be so-and-so, Angela Rayner? But maybe none of them should replace him. Maybe because of the way that him and his Labour louts have wrecked the United Kingdom, we need a general election. Because if somebody is elected who's more left-wing, there was no consensus in the election in that pathetic joke full of lies and bullshit manifesto, which even he hasn't stuck to. None of that was a big left-wing agenda, was it? So the person who becomes the leader of Labour and therefore becomes the leader of our great country would not really have a mandate. Or am I being unfair? I'd like your opinion. So do you want a general election? Do you want one of the Labour people to be given the job? But can Starmer survive? I say no. What do you say? Let's see the comments. We've had loads already. So thank you for that. Because I'm asking, the pinned comment I've put up is, should Starmer stay or go? Or should we have a general election? Steve MOT says, afternoon, Gaunty. Looking forward to your live show. I think we need both Starmer and Labour. And both of them, of what they've done to our country, it's in chaos. So let the public decide which way forward once a general election. Nexus 62112 says Starmer next. One T1000 on YouTube says general election. Labour have caused too much damage. And Plan C says there should be street parties and a bank holiday when Starmlin, nice one, goes. I think I agree. Ronnie Hurst is the last one for now, and we'll come back to your comments in a moment. I'd like a general election. Basically, we've been lied on, and Starmer now is on his last legs. I agree. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a live news show, comment show, as it happens. So, careful, sound like Jimmy Savile. He never came across Keir Starmer's desk. Did you know that? But today, the breaking news is that Morgan McSWEENey, who's his top advisor, has resigned. I read his statement, and basically he said it was his idea to have Mandelson. And what I think a lot of the mainstream press aren't picking up on, but they wouldn't like to pick up on it because it indicts them as well. Morgan McSWEENey says, it was my decision. I decided it, so the book stops with me. In my opinion, within that statement, he's criticising Starmer because Starmer never likes to take responsibility for any of the cock-ups that he makes. As I say, 15 or 16 U-turns, but does he ever take responsibility? No. Does he go to see the women and the families of women who have been raped or viciously killed in the streets by the people that he's let in, undocumented males of fighting age? Does he buggery? Did he run away from Southport when one woman shouted out, "Wanker"? Yes, he did. Did he send people to prison for hurty words? I'm not talking about those who actually rioted and put lives at danger. I'm talking about social media messages. Yes, he did. This morning, I got up early to watch the TV, to have a look, see how they would defend themselves. Did he go on Laura Kunsberg this morning? No. He sent Pat McFadden, who looks like a funeral director, warmed up, doesn't he? Hey, him and that other one who's John Healey, the defence. They're saying, oh, maybe now they could be the caretaker prime ministers. It's like Shadrach out of Billy Liar. You've got to know your drama for that one. Why would you want to have someone? They both look like death. We need vibrant, middle-aged people to lead us to the promised land. You see, because even Starmer, he looked the part, apart from that ridiculous haircut of his, but he hasn't got the balls. He hasn't got the vision. And so this afternoon, when that press release came out saying that Morgan McSWEENey was going, he said he'd take responsibility. Well, that would make a big difference. Subsequently, Starmer's put out a statement where, again, he's not taking responsibility. He blames everyone. You know, like last week when he did his sorry, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not really sorry, but I've been told to say sorry 5 times. He looked stupid. He cannot control the room. I've just been watching GB News and somebody on there was quoting me about, it's like a football manager who's lost the dressing room and the confidence of the chairman. Please, if you're going to use my expressions, my ideas, my imagery, my metaphors, my similes, at least credit me, you talentless buffoons. I got a bit wound up about that. I do apologise. But your views are what matters to me. Tell me now, are you glad that this is really now the end? Who do you want in charge next? Do you want a general election? Anyway, so Pat McFadden was on the programmes this morning defending the Prime Minister. He urged calm and he insisted that it's all being overblown. But that defence looks weaker by the hour, no, by the minute. Listen, he knew in 2009, I think it was, when he got convicted, this isn't Starmer, when the filthy nonce got convicted in Florida of prostitution with young girls. Starmer knew that had happened to Epstein. So, of course, did that piece of filth, that traitor, that scumbag, Peter Mandelson. So then wind the clock forward 10 or 15 years, when they were coming to decide whether Mandelson could be the ambassador of America, they decided to ignore the fact he was best mates with a paedophile. And that's what Epstein was. Why did they do that? Why have Labour got a problem with paedophilia? Look at the Muslim rape gangs. They had to be dragged, kicking and screaming. We've even had Khan in London. Oh, no, there's no rape gangs in London. No, none. Absolute bullshit. We need a government that is willing to face the population and say, look, these are the problems we've got, without fear of grace or favour, just like we need a police force that is not two-tiered, We need fairness, equality. And that means, of course, we've got to stamp down on racism. Racism's horrendous. I'm against it. But we don't need a blasphemy law for Islamophobia. And if we're going to crack down on white people, so-called far right, why aren't we clapping down on those Palestinian supporters? Why are they still allowed to march? Why are they allowed to sing from the river to the sea? Are you with me or against me? Write a comment in the book. This is the John Gaunt Show. Hear it live and hear it in its original form, whereas tomorrow, all those lick-spittle talk radio jocks will be doing the same material, but making sure it's all ever so polite and okay for Ofcom. I am getting a bit annoyed with it now. But anyway, back to the subject. Keir Starmer should go today. He absolutely should go today. I see Lammy has stood up and said, well, I didn't want, what's his name, Mandelson to be the ambassador. You were the bloody foreign secretary. Why didn't you speak out then? I'll tell you why Lammy didn't. Because he's a stinking fat hypocrite like the rest of them. He didn't want to lose his £7,000 worth of Jaffa Cake biscuits. Well, are they a biscuit or a cake? I'm never sure. But he didn't. That he was on the choo-choo gravy train, just like the rest of them. I see the Deputy Prime Minister, as she was, Angela, I fiddle my taxes, Rayner. She says she didn't agree with it. Why didn't you speak up earlier, Angela? You're speaking up now because you want to be the boss. I don't think you'd make a bad job of it, actually, compared to Starmer. But then again, I don't think Wes Streeton would either. Then again, I don't think my dog would. It's absolutely ludicrous. And then, on the good ship Labour, they're hoping to replace Starmer with an unelected leader. It can't just come down to Labour Party members, surely, to elect our next Prime Minister. We need a general election. Are you with me or against me? And then two bits that I just want to finally finish off with. Where's the mainstream media been in this? The BBC are almost wearing black armbands because it's their chum, Peter, our Peter, who's in trouble. They can't accept that he's a paedophile supporter, because that's what he's done by supporting, what's his name? Epstein. And what I think is, I don't know, but there's obviously something in the Epstein files which is going to really hit the fan. That's why he's gone today, McSWEENey. I wouldn't be surprised if Starmer doesn't go tomorrow. They're publishing a load more tomorrow, but it's going to be mostly Tuesday. The whole thing stinks. The establishment are laughing at us. Are the establishment also attacking our children? Are the establishment in some kind of paedophile ring? I don't know. But it's odd, isn't it? It's really, really odd. Reluctance to attack the pedo gangs. Reluctance to really get on top of this. And all the media chummies, they're almost feeling sorry for the end of a glorious political career. Mandelson. He'll turn out to be a scumbag, an even bigger one than they're talking about at the moment. Mark my words. We've only just hitting the tip of this iceberg. So, I say, no good keeping getting rid of people. We need the whole lot out. If advisors are falling on their swords, if senior figures are resigning, if reputations are being shredded and sacrificed, surely the book stops with Starmer. Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender before all of this happened. He was a convicted sex offender. That's not opinion. That's on the public record. So nobody should be his pal. And certainly he shouldn't be getting the job of ambassador of this great country in the United States, because I've got fed up with that as well. Oh, we needed somebody like Mandelson because Trump's a monster. You what? Or he's unpredictable. This is a complete and utter joke. And here's the final question. So there's a lot for you to think about. It's also been revealed this morning that Mandelson has got a 55 grand payoff. He's got a third of a year's salary. He should not be getting a penny. And if he's got it already, he should give it back. Oh, McFadden said, oh, maybe he'll give it to a charity. It's not for him to decide. Take the money off him. And I'll tell you something else. You know how big their pensions are in the diplomatic service and indeed in Parliament? That should all be stripped as well. And if there's any way he's involved in facilitating or taking part in any of these heinous acts, and as I say, we don't know if that's true yet, so be careful, then I say it's not good enough just stripping him of his peerage. I want him in a court of law in front of 12 good men and true. Are you with me or are you against me? Feel free to republish the stream. Tell all your mates we're on. Let's get cracking. So much to talk about. Where are we going to start? Oh, and if you like what I'm doing, and if you've never heard anything like it before and you'd like to donate, very simple. Press the $sign next to the comments if you're watching on YouTube, or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt and donate there. And if you're watching the news at the same time, if, whilst I'm on air, Starmer does resign, make sure you let me know. Right, where are we going to? Let's start with Andrew Cottrell. He needs to go now. You see, yeah, I know he does, but I think it has to be a general election as well. He's a pathetic excuse of a man. He certainly is. Another one for a payout, says Philip Derry. Well, that's true. It's like Liz Truss. She was the Prime Minister for less time than that lettuce took to go off. She got a massive payoff. With them lot, it's always triples all round, isn't it? They're taking the piss. Starmer went to Southport. That didn't go well. He even had to hide for weeks afterwards. Where any time when he meets the general public, he ends up running away and he ends up calling us far right, or he ends up not appearing in public again. I just think it's ludicrous. It's like now we've got a zombie government, right? Because they can't do anything. They all hate each other. They're all coming out looking for positions. He stopped the only man who gave Labour any chance of being elected, Andy Burnham. And I'm not a fan of Andy Burnham. But if they wanted to get a new leader tomorrow, which one of that mob would you choose? Do you see what I'm getting at? It's just a complete and utter joke. T1000, indeed, champagne sales are going to rocket when Labour are booted out. Hopefully very, very quickly. He'll be gone before the week. I'm hoping he'll be gone before the end of today. Keir Starmer should be gone by Tuesday. Then let the cat fight for his replacement start, said ZX Alien Warrior. I disagree. I don't think it should be left to the Labour Party. They've proved themselves to be a bunch of six-formers. They couldn't organise their you-know-what in a brewery. It's got to be a general election. And if Reform aren't ready, they're not ready. Tough titties. Same with the Tories. Let's slug it out with all the parties and then maybe get a government that is half decent. Nigel Parker's taking the mickey on YouTube. He says, what about Mastermind for PM? Obviously talking about David Lammy. He thinks he's in with a chance. He thinks he's in with a chance. God help us. Morgan was thrown under the bus. Starmer isn't going to know where. No election. Sorry. Starmer isn't going nowhere. You mean nowhere. So they spelt it like no. Where no election, no challenge. I don't know what you base that on, David. It's not going to be his choice. There is no way that by next week he'll still be in charge. He's not in charge now, for God's sake. David, you tend to always look at it in a depressing way. Lighten up! Today, as Mrs. Thatcher said on the steps of Downing Street, rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. We're getting rid of Starmer. We've hauled him under the waterline. Nigel Parker says he's hanging around like a bad smell. He is, but not for much longer. McSWEENey will be a scapegoat. Lessons will be learned. Brushed under the carpet again. Scumbags, the lot of them. I don't think... I'm sorry. I normally agree with a lot of what you say, Steve. I don't know where you come from with that. Why do you think it's... How can it be brushed under the carpet now with the stories that are out there? McSWEENey was the architect. McSWEENey was Mandelson's boy. There's two boys. See, maybe you don't know this. McSWEENey was Mandelson's... Mandelson was his mentor. And the other one is Wes Streeting. And the idea was that, what's his name? McSWEENey, he got Starmer in to prepare the way for Wes Streeting because it was going to be this glorious Labour socialist revolution, Fabian takeover. That's what they were doing, but they failed because they couldn't organise a piss-up in a brewery. That's why the adults are back in charge. Behave yourself. These are the kids who sell the socialist worker outside Woolies when we're going in with our mum to buy broken biscuits. There certainly aren't socialists who are brought up on a diet of broken biscuits, as Pulp used to sing. Oh, come on, pick up the cultural references. So it's a joke. So it's an absolute joke. Mandelson, I've been getting told this week, so I still know people in the political world and in the kind of... in the Fleet Street, well, it's not Fleet Street anymore, is it? You know what I mean? They reckon, and I think this is going to come out in the next couple of days, Mandelson basically picked the cabinet. It wasn't Mandelson being picked to be the ambassador. He was the architect of Starmer's government. So, in other words, they've all turned a blind eye to the fact that he likes staying in a paedophile's bed. Well, his house. There's so many things I'd love to say at the moment. I mean, I don't think he'll sue, but I'm not going to say them. But let's wait another couple of days. Wait another couple of days. I still want to know what Epstein means by that line about, was it Cuban or Honduran? And there was another one. Yeah, was he talking about cigars that he was supplying him? My arse. Let's go to David Temple. Oh, David, thank you very much. A super sticker. He's just donated 10 quid to the fund. Thank you very, very much indeed. I'll tell you how he did that. He clicked on the dollar sign and he's donated a tenner. Thank you very much. Whatever you can afford, only what you can afford, please do so. We don't charge a license fee. You don't go to prison if you watch or listen and don't donate. But obviously it's independent broadcasting and there's never been a bigger time, a more necessary time for you to support independent voices of all descriptions. So if you can afford to donate something, a fiver, a couple of quid, please do so. If you don't want to do it that way, you can do it www.buymeacoffee, all one word, .com/John Gaunt, all one word. The links are in all the descriptions. And if you're watching live, great. And don't forget, one of the best ways to help me is make sure you subscribe to John Gaunt TV on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, put in John Gaunt TV, it'll come up. Little pop-up comes up saying, do you want to subscribe? Say yes. It doesn't cost anything. It just means you're then on our mailing list, so to speak. We're talking not just about child abuse, but satanic child sacrifice. Well, that's been the rumour, Ian Passy, but I don't think at this moment in time, you can actually say that's been directly happening. So just calm it a little bit. King Sasquatch says, go, go, go. Well said. A room full of chimps could do a better job than any of those worthless turds in Labour, says T1000. Don't hold back, will you, T1000? Nice comments. Michael Yates. The damage at home is bad, but also the damage on the international stage is damaged trust. And it's gone in our country. Yeah, we're the laughing stock of the world. But Epstein was doing most of his paedophilia activities in the States. But what's happened is, because of Andrew of Mountbatten, or whatever that prick's calling himself, tied in with Mandelson, it looks like we're the island of pedos, doesn't it? And I've had enough of that, Andrew. I've had enough. I mean, Charles has done well to sort of boot him out to Sandringham. Why don't we just boot him out of the country full stop? The things you read about him, who does he think he is? Who does he think he is? And I speak as a monarchist. Excuse me. Labour has got to go now. They've done nothing but damage to the country. I can't believe it's only been 19 months. The country cannot afford any more of this rubbish, says Plan C. Plan C, you're not going to get an argument with me. As I say, excuse me, I've still got this cold. I've been polishing my dancing shoes. I can't wait to dance on the political grave. The political grave is an image. The political grave of Keir Starmer. Steve Palmer says, oh, sorry, wrong one. Here we go. Wait a minute. Steve Palmer, big regular of mine. Jaffa cakes, cake or biscuit, going bad. Biscuits go soft. Cakes go hard. Are we talking about cakes here? Not had any Jaffa cakes last long enough to go off to confirm. Sorry. Yeah, until their hobnobs came out, Jaffa cake was everybody's aspirational biscuit or cake, wasn't it? Oh, well, I used to love a Jaffa cake. Imagine how many chemicals are in it. I used to love them. Then I got into hobnobs, chocolate ones. Oh, man alive. No wonder I ended up with type 2 diabetes, fat bastard. Anyway, enough of that. Stephen Palmer is also just given me £5. He's donated £5 towards the podcast production. And I thank you very much, Steve. I know you've done it many times before. Thank you, my friend. Den Spinks says it's Titanic time for Labour now, John. I don't know about the Titanic. They're certainly hold in the underneath the waterline. Lammy would impose a Jaffa cake tax, says T1000. He certainly would. Yeah, poor old Lammy. He wants to be the Prime Minister. Is somebody ever going to tell him? Mate, after you went on University Challenge, there's two hopes. Bob Hope and no hope. Labour's losing the Muslim vote, so they're screwed at the next election. Watch them scream foul play when they lose. Well, I don't agree with sectarian voting anyway, Ronnie, so I don't want to encourage that, but you're right. That is what's happening. Yeah, Labour have lost that kind of constituency, haven't they? But it's not a good thing for the Britain at all. Lena Tail, as much as I despise Starmer, it's got to be better than Rayner or Miliband. Well, does it? Because do you think Angela Rayner would be... Because I think one of the things with Starmer, he's just so arrogant with his incompetence. And I wonder whether Rayner would be like that, or even Miliband. I mean, obviously, he's fanatical about his windmills. Yeah? I'll tell you what I'd do with Miliband. I'd say, if you're so fanatical about your windmills, can we do a Simon Le Bon on you? Do you remember when Le Bon, they tied into that war? What was it called? It was Wild Boys. It was Wild Boys. And they tied him to that windmill. And it went round and he got ducked in the water. And then the story goes, it got stuck and he nearly drowned. Yeah. But anyway, wouldn't you love to do that? There's quite a few people I'd like to put on a windmill like that. But Miliband's definitely one of them. Yeah? Windmill's too good for him. Jay Clough. Nothing less than a general election will do. Labour will destroy our culture, our history, if they aren't stopped immediately. I have to agree with that. Goodbye, Starmer. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Yeah, well, I agree with that, but what are you going to do? Who are we going to have instead? I want a general election. They're going to fob us off with saying, oh, Angela Rayner's got the gig, or Lammy. That's what's going to happen. We're all going to be laughing. And, but nothing will change. But these people who say, I'd rather keep Starmer, got a mate in the pub, Pete. He said, don't know why you're celebrating, because whoever gets it next will be worse. I had a go at him. I said, don't be stupid. You have to deal with problems as they present themselves. The clear and present danger to Britain at the moment is Starmer. The Starmageddon he's leading us into. Let's deal with that, and then we'll see who we get next. I just don't think it's an argument. What's this one say? Chairman Mao learned a lot in China. I don't get that, but fair enough. Peter Fox, go. He has no credibility left. Living it, loving it in the wall. Living it, loving it. The wall is about to fall. Laugh out loud. If anybody wants to donate, feel free. Just click on that $sign and send a few pounds if you can, please. Or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Only got 10 likes today. We normally get loads of likes on a Sunday. So if you're liking it, hit the like button, please. Don't be silly, Gaunty, says the Bristol Channel. You reformers helped Starmer get in, and you'll keep him in for 3 terms. 15 years of Keir. What on earth does that mean? You reckon it was reformers who kept him? Are you stupid? Are you stupid? I think you probably are. But, maybe you want to explain it. Dame Starmer is toast, says Nexus. Thank you. Go, for God's sake, go, says Brian Hill. And then he says, Larry, the number 10 cat for PM. Fair enough, my friend. Fair enough. Where are we going next? Andrew Mount Anything Windsor had his uncle Mount Bottom. Yeah, of course, because he was a paedophile, wasn't he? Lord Mountbatten. They reckon that's why I don't know if this is true, but that's why the IRA blew him up. Because wasn't there a boy on his yacht and they never found the boy or something like that? There's some story, isn't there? Anyway, John, doesn't matter who's in power. The same shit's going on. Remember, Tory. I don't understand that. Elaine Izzo. Oh, thank you, Elaine. One of my regulars. She's just donated a £5, $4.99 on a super sticker on YouTube. Thank you very much indeed, Elaine. She's clicked the little $sign and put a £5 in the pot. It is important, if you can, to donate because, at the moment you can see I get adverts now, but it's a trickle. YouTube are making a fortune out of me. The real money comes from endorsements and sponsorship, which I've not got a big enough audience yet to get that. I'm being honest with you. So I rely on fans. And so if you like the show, can't you chuck in a £5 or a couple of quid? And if you really like the show, chuck in 100 quid. Whatever. It all goes and it stops me having to sell the big issue outside Primark in Coventry. Nexus has tried to explain his joke. I'll put it up for you. Keir Man Mal. Lol. Keir Starmer. Maybe that's funny. It's not funny to me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm thick. But I think you've got the comic telling ability of Keir Starmer. What's the next one? Hope McSWEENey punishes Starmer for blaming his staff just so he can keep all his corrupt secrets hidden. Well, I'll tell you what, I worry about that with... Don't worry about it. I do wonder whether Starmer is ever concerned that by stitching up Mandelson will do him good and proper. Do you know what I mean? Because he must know where everyone's buried, mustn't he? Where all the bodies are. I don't know. I tell you, this story's got a long way to go yet. Gary Munnery, thank you, my friend, very much a regular to my programs. He's just put a super sticker in on YouTube, $4.99. Thank you very much. That's a £5. Very much appreciated, Gary. I'm glad you're still enjoying the show. Don't forget, you don't have to do it on YouTube. You can also do it on www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. I am going to finish in a minute, everyone. I'm cooking today, before you ask, brisket of beef. It's been on all day. House smells fantastic with it. Anyone who thinks Rayner or Miliband would be better than Starmer should have a head wobble because they're different heads of the same snake, says David KT. I don't think it comes down. See, I think that's one of the problems the country's got at the moment, David. I don't think there's anybody thinks Angela Rayner will be better, or Wes Streeton will be better, or even Andy Burnham. They just want rid of Starmer. I mean, that's how he got elected in the first place, wasn't it? It was anyone but Labour, Conservatives. It's the same kind of thing. It's not good. It's not good for democracy, this. Vote Reform UK, says Uno, 1968 on YouTube. Let's make the UK safe and secure. Please don't split the vote and let Labour in again. Thank you for your comments. McSWEENey, another sacrificial lamb stepping down to protect Starmer. I don't think it's that, my friend. I wonder who encouraged him. He'll say and do anything to continue with his trips abroad. Yeah, I do feel sorry for him. What's he going to do when he can't? When he can't go on freebies all over the world? Nexus is still trying to explain the joke. Look at the screen, everyone. Gaunty, Keir Mao, just like Chairman Mao. Yeah, but it isn't. It doesn't sound like Chairman, does it? Because Keir is Keir. No. I'm sure you have a cold. Get well soon. Well, thank you. I still don't get your joke. I do apologise. Everest is now the second highest mountain. Labour's mountain of bullcrap is first. Thank you. Like the multi-headed snake in Jason and the Argonauts. Shot one off and another one comes. That's true. Has he gone yet, says Andrew Cottrell? I doubt it. Starmer and Lord Ali forever together, dancing off into the sunset. I see he's been getting named. I think only in a minor way in these Epstein papers. I bet if Epstein, there's these rumours now that Epstein isn't dead. He must be laughing his duck off even if he's dead. He must be laughing. The amount of trouble he's caused. Incredible. But within all this, we've all got to remember there were innocent girls, and by the look of it, boys being sexually abused by powerful men. Let's remember what the crime is. It's just unbelievably horrendous. And their lives will be ruined forever. I think I've told this story before, but please let me tell you it again. And if you haven't heard it, I think it puts child abuse really into its context. I was on BBC Three Counties Radio years ago, before I won all my awards, and we were having a phone in, and we'd had a chat about trying to... the BBC were always obsessed with reducing the age of the audience. I don't know why, because BBC local radio, it doesn't matter if people are older, you're serving them. But like with everything, in the BBC and in wider society, it's all about super serving young people, isn't it? And at the time, I was about 40. But so we went on these seminars, and it was all about, let's lower the audience. So let's be careful of the subjects we pick and the spokespeople we... fucking bullshit, right? I'd sit there and listen to this crap. I had the biggest audience in any local radio show in the whole country. And I had to listen to this tripe coming out by twats wearing rainbow jumpers. You know what I mean? All look like Timmy Mallet. All had glasses like him. And I had to sit there and listen to this garbage. So we want to reduce the audience age, everyone. So when you pick a spokesperson, try and get someone who's about 40. And then they have this mythical couple called Sue and somebody else, right? They were our listeners. They didn't look or sound like any of my flipping listeners, but they'd made it. One was a car worker and one was it was the most condescending, patronising pile of shit that they'd wasted tens of thousands of pounds on the BBC, right? So you had to test any subject matter, right? So say my mate John Pilgrim, who did the afternoon show, says, if you're going to do the afternoon show, John, perhaps don't talk about the Blitz in Coventry. Talk about 10 years after that. Why? Well, because Coventry isn't just the Blitz. Yeah, but it did define us as a country. No, you're missing the point, John. The Blitz was one thing in history. Oh, what about Lady Godiva? Oh, no, you don't want to just talk about Lady Godiva. Yeah, but that's our culture. That's our history. Every little kid knows about Peeping Tom looking out to have a look at Lady Godiva's breast. We all know it's not a real story, but it don't matter. It gives us pride. They went round the country, these twats, teaching people how to get a younger audience. So that's the context to my story. So I'm on air one morning and we're talking about child abuse. And suddenly I get a caller. And when you're good at phoning, right? So that means none of the people who are on national radio at the moment, you get a screen full of callers. And I used to be like to pick them, right? Radio 5, they pick them for you. Who you're going to go to next? Go to caller 4 next, right? No, I'm the conductor. I'll go to whoever I want. They put up one line of what you're going to say. So I went to this bloke called Albert, right? And it was a regional show. That's it. It wasn't my breakfast show. It's a regional show. I used to do a show which went out all over Norwich, Northampton. It was on a Friday night, all over the place, about 10 different stations, because none of these other stations had an audience. So they had me to do this one show. It's great. I used to stay down overnight. It's fantastic. We used to have some great night outs. Anyway, so I go, Albert, how are you, mate? And he goes, oh, thank you for coming to me. I want to tell you about something that happened to me 60 years ago, 50 years ago. So I pushed the buzzer. I don't know if you know, in phoning studios, you can push a little thing, which means I can still hear what he's saying, and you at home can still hear him. But you can't hear me while I've got the talk back on, right? So Lorraine, who's my producer, who was brilliant, right? Absolutely brilliant. Irish girl from County Luton, right? She was superb. I go on he goes, I want to tell you about something that happened to me when I was 6. I'm straight on the buzzer. Lorraine, what do you put this fucking old bastard through for? We're meant to be lowering the age. I was out of order. Listen, I was out of order. She goes, why don't you shut up and listen, right? She said, in one ear. And then in my other, I've still got the button pushed in. I'm about to give her a bit more profanity. And in this ear, I hear him say, these 3 men took me into a field and raped me. I gently pulled away my finger. This man, Albert, he then went on and spoke for about 20 odd minutes about this abuse. Not in graphic detail. I didn't say they did this to me, they did that to me. But he said what had happened to him. And what he said was that he hadn't been able to talk to his wife about it or his children. Oh, that was it. That was sadness. He said, oh, my wife's passed away now, but I never spoke to my wife about it. And I've never washed or bathed my kids. And at this time, I had my daughters, Rosie and Bethany, and they were still at that age where you put them both in the bath and any other kids in the neighbourhood getting, you know what I mean? You know what it's like. And they've all got their ducks and all the rest of it. And I said, what? Why not? He said, I never wanted to be accused that I touched them. And he spoke about the abuse he'd suffered by these 3 monsters, right? 50 or 60 years ago. And the lesson it taught me, it doesn't matter how old a listener is or a caller is, if the story is good and strong and powerful and most of all, personal. He had never said that to anyone. He hadn't even told his wife. And this man couldn't be with his children in the bathroom, not because he would abuse them. He was worried he'd ever get accused of it. Imagine living like that. And it brought home to me just how terrible child abuse is. And we all know most child abuse happens in the home and all the rest of it. So whenever there's all these different arguments about it, I always think about Albert in this field. And in my mind, it's a field of corn, you know, because your brain, it probably wasn't. It's probably some shitty little field just outside Newmarket or Cambridge or something. I can't remember where it was from. But it was a real lesson on so many levels about why this crime. I mean, I would hang everybody. Anybody who did that, that's it, gone. No second chance, because all the experts tell you you can't cure it. It's a sexual urge. Only one answer. And don't say castration, because it's like rape. It's not about the physical act. It's about power. And that's what people like, what's his name? Epstein. What's his name? Not Einstein, that's for sure. Epstein. They're powerful men. And I tell you, if you find out that it's all these men who are there saying, and some people saying, oh, yeah, but she was 15 or 16. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. There's not a gradient of, oh, it's not so bad if you're 16 or 15 or 13. It's no. And that's what Starmer, I'd like to take a baseball bat, metaphorically speaking, and say, tell me when this hurts, Keir Starmer, because this is similar to your view about paedophilia. When does it become too much that you wouldn't give somebody who associated with somebody who did that a top job? Like I said the other day, is it upskirting? Is it taking pictures in a girl's change room? What is it? You filth. And you call yourself a human rights lawyer. You're a hypocritical piece of shit. That's what you are, because you are giving them an excuse. I don't care. And that's why I'm not going to stop moaning about you until we've got rid of you. I was the director of public prosecution. Jimmy Savile never came across my desk. Well, I wonder why. I wonder why. With somebody like you at the top of an organisation. I'm not saying you're a paedophile, but you're trying to intellectualise it. It's the rape of childhood. And that is why I'm so tough on the Muslim Pakistani rape gangs, but also the dads who do it, of all races, of all colours, of all creeds, the Scoutmasters. I mean, do you remember when all this began to break? When it all began to break, it was like, what are you on about? I mean, I got the sack for saying about the smoking thing with that idiot. When I said, if you're left in a residential care home, you're in more danger ever than my Auntie Rosemary smoking while she's cooking me my dinner. I was right. I was proved right. And I still think one of the reasons why I don't get a job on or get offers, because I should be getting offers left, right and centre to now work in mainstream. They want to treat me as if I'm a nutcase. And that's what they're scared of. That's why when I say they're scared of me because I'm too dangerous, I won't play their game. That's why I agreed with Zia Yusuf the other week when he said, I'm not going to sit in a green room talking nicely to Tories and then put on a pantomime when I go on the telly. No, I'm me. Take me or leave me. As it is, they chose to leave me, which is why I'm here talking to you on a Sunday afternoon. But that's why I'm so fired up about it. And when I was in the children's home in Coventry, and don't think it can't happen to you or your kids, I had a working class upbringing. My dad was a copper, just a constable. We lived in a police house, never had any money. Mum and dad always arguing. My dad was a pisshead. In the sense of he was like Gene Hunt, you know, hard drinking, CID, all the rest of it, all the rubbish that goes with it. When my mum died, I ended up in care because my dad couldn't cope, right? That's the truth of it. And I was a bit of a bad boy, I suppose. I was 13, you know what it's like. Whereas my older brother, he just put his head down, carried on working hard at school, got to university. And then the younger brother, well, everyone loved him because he was the baby. He was 5. But I got put in that children's home by my dad, who didn't even have the bollocks to stand there or tell me where we were going. I heard the door shut behind me. Right? I'll tell you this tale another time. And I didn't speak for the whole weekend. I couldn't believe I was there. I just cried myself to sleep every night. But I met a bloke called Danny, who went on to believe it or not, become an opera director. He was just a working class kid from Cov. Him and his brother were in care, and they were there for a lot longer than I was. And he helped me. He pulled me through. And my auntie Rosemary, when she came down and said, you know, this is wrong. I'm going to look after you, but you got to abide by my rules. I don't know why I'm talking about this. But, oh, yeah, that was it. While I was there, you know, when it wasn't the Pakistani rape gang thing at the first, when it turned out that these girls were being taken out of residential homes, and I said to somebody I was working with, well, that used to happen 30 or 40 years ago. It was actually 50 years ago, right? So, you know, when you're childhood, it all gets a bit messed up, the timescale. There was a girl I was in care with. Her name was, well, we'll call her Karen. Her dad had abused her for years. She got put into care, into the place I was in. And people used to come and collect her from the children's home. And we all thought it was great because she always had money. Fags didn't really interest me. She had loads of fags because she had cash. But she always used to bring back loads of sweets. And they turned her into a prostitute, although you can't really be a prostitute when you're under 16. I know that. So it was happening then. A couple of them were Asian, not all of them. And you know, the social workers, not all of them, but a few of them, they didn't say anything. Why? Because they were getting a bit themselves. I still have nightmares about this to this day. There was one brilliant bloke there. His name was Ken Simon. He was an apprentice or a trainee social worker. He was an Asian geezer, as it happens. And I used to have long conversations with him. He used to get me books to read. He's the one who said to me, read that book, because once it's in your head, they can never take it away from you, John. He was right. But he invited me into his room to have these conversations. And I always remember Danny saying, watch yourself. He'll be bumming you before you know it. I said, why? What do you mean bumming me? And so he explained what he meant. I thought, I don't think he's like that. And of course he wasn't. He was a decent human being who was actually concerned. But how come Danny, his first thought was, he'd be bumming you? I think you know why he thought that. And you know what? It's still going on now. So when some stupid twat of a counsellor tells me that smoking in front of kids is really, really dangerous, that's why, forgive me, I'm a bit cynical. There were 60,000 kids in care in Wales and in England at that time, just alone, residential care. It's more like 80 now. Kids are still not being cared for. Kids are coming out of care homes at 16 and going into prison or young offenders institutes. We completely forget about them. When I got put in there, my mate, Graham, who listens to this show sometimes, Muttley, we used to call him, he said, when I told him I was in there, he said, what did you do wrong? I said, I haven't done anything wrong. You fucking liar. You must have done. I said, it's not a prison. I said, my dad couldn't cope. And I wasn't alone. There was quite a few. I mean, there were other people in there who've been a bit delinquent. But then now you got to think, well, why have they been delinquent? Sorry, that's probably bored the arse off you. I didn't mean to. Sometimes, I don't know where these things come from, but I just want to talk about them. I've been trying to write about it. I put it into a novel, but the subject matter, because at the end of this novel that I wrote, which again was all about powerful people abusing kids, they burn down the home and kill the people who've been doing it to them. I got a big TV company really interested in the story until they got to the last 3 pages and they realised what I was saying. Anyway, enough. Sorry. Right, let's go. Plan C says, there's Fiver. Jaunty, thank you. He's giving me a super sticker. Vicky Pollard, favourite to take over. You mean Angela Rayner? Yeah, I know Angela Rayner's a bit common and all the rest of it. I don't really agree. I used to call her Vicky Pollard, but I don't agree with it anymore because there's another way of looking at Angela Rayner. I try not to if possible. That's sexist. I apologise. But there is another way, which is she's a working class woman who pulled herself up by her roots. So I kind of admire her. I don't want her to be the fucking Prime Minister, but I don't want to just slag her off either. Starmer and Labour out. We're not naive. As we know what's been going on, the government continues to try and gaslight us, but this is not going to continue. The British will win over. Sadiq Khan, how about him for the new Labour leader? Says a really complicated mathematical equation on YouTube. Yes, well, I've been saying he could be. I could see Sadiq Khan getting in. What a great shirt, John. Where do you get it? Says K-Man. You mean this one? Well, you won't be able to. Well, you would if you're going to. When I went across Route 66 with John and Tony and my mates, when we ran, What's it called? Talk to Me Radio, After the Sun and all that. I bought it in a shop, but it was so big on me, so tight on me, because I was so fat then, right? That was when I was 23 stone or whatever. I've never worn it, but recently I've been wearing it. It's too big for me now, but it's a great shirt. And it's got all the images. Can you see them? Different places. Because I don't know if you go Route 66, there's all this Art Deco hotels. And it's fabulous. Fabulous. Should have carried on doing that radio station. That could have become something. That's one of my problems. I don't stick at things long enough. Vicky Pollard's first Prime Minister's questions. Yeah, but no, but yeah, but no. Well, hang on, ZXR Alien Warrior. What's the difference between that and Keir Starmer? What? Question? Not going to answer that. No. Oh, 14 years of misrule by the Tories. That's what he does. He never answers a bloody question. Susan Proston. Starmer and the Labour Party need to go. They're not going to continue to gaslight us all. The British people will survive this. Yeah, I used to listen to your show when I was on the night shift, and Whaley too. It was great fun back then. Thank you. I used to love Gaunty's show on Three Counties. Never the same after. What, you don't mean me, you mean Three Counties. I don't know, they've had some good people on there. I love that. I love Three Counties. That was some of the best time ever. Honestly. Me, John Pilgrim, Ernie Allman, and the young lads, Jack. Not Jack. Jack was, that's not his name. Lee, Rat Boy, we called him, the producer, Lorraine. We had some really talented kids working there. Poor Albert, says Nexus. Oh, thank you. That's Albert, yeah. It affected his whole life. Some bastards abusing him in a field in Norfolk or wherever it was. John, how do you think the markets will react to leadership contests and potential Rayner, Lammy, Mahmood, Streeton or Miliband? Terribly, but it doesn't matter who gets it. Doesn't matter. We're in this shit. We're so deeply in it. It's unbelievable. You're no nutcase, says Den Spinks. I was classified as one for a while when I was a kid. Yeah. Anyway, that's a different story. With the Rent Boy arsonist trial coming soon, it's hard to believe that Jimmy Savile didn't come across Starmer's desk, isn't it, John? I can't read the next bit, but I understand where you're coming from. Lena Tail, John, I sincerely hope this channel takes off big time for you. Yeah, so do I. And so does my wife. She's not here today. We've got, I can't talk about it at the moment. I will in a few weeks, maybe. Got a extended family problem, which she's gone to deal with. You can't deal with this problem. But anyway, that's where she is today. But normally she's down there with the ledger. You only got £5 donation today. You'll have to work harder. Yeah, well, I'll try my hardest. It's a two-way street lease. Sometimes they play ball, sometimes they don't. Have you got any suggestions for how I should do it? She doesn't like that. She normally throws something at me there. Where are we going next? The whole Labour Party and the Conservative Party need to be banned. Banned from what? When the Starmer got the PM gig, his son said to him, how did you manage to blah that? Says it all. I don't understand that one, but thank you. How come there was no... Listen, I had no comments when I went off and told you my trail about Albert. Now it's loads of them, and I've got to go. Ian Pass is going on about Satanist abuse. I'm not sure. Rejoice, John, rejoice. Now explain to me about what mate considering is what you've just said. There is SFA, and as a Cov kid, the Blitz defined me. My grandfather was duty fireman at the Standard Works on that night. Well, that's what I said to these trendy arseholes. The Blitz makes people, Coventry people, that's what it's about. The Blitz, cars, Lady Godiva. That's like when we were the cultural city, which basically meant a lot of people from London got extraordinarily well paid. £1 million disappeared, and they thought culture was a few kids playing bangle drums. Our culture is a little bit more than that, but maybe not. My auntie remembers when Rochdale Council came early Sunday morning and removed children from their beds, put them into a care home. Correct. That's how it used to be. He should go to jail. I agree. Jackie Ward, you've just given me the heebie-jeebies saying Sadiq Khan could be PM. K-Man, did you ever meet Mike Dickin? No, but to my eternal shame, I think it was the day he actually died. He fell asleep at the wheel, didn't he, driving back to Cornwall? Or the day before that. I had a row with him on air about recycling. He basically, because he was definitely against it, and I had young kids, and I was in favour of doing your bit. And we had a massive row. I can't remember what I said to him, but I put him down. Next thing I know, he's dead. So there we are. Well, you've almost had my life story today. Right, I'm off. Thank you very much indeed for watching or listening. If you do enjoy it, please tell your friends. Please spread the word. Gaunt is back on his little YouTube show, desperately trying to build the audience, but that's the way it is. I think tomorrow we may be celebrating. We may be celebrating the end of Starmer. Then we'll move on to what other Burke is going to ruin our lives for us. If you've enjoyed it, please feel free to donate. www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt, anything from $5 upwards. Or alternatively, you can press on the button. I've lost what I was going to say now. The comment button, you know what I mean? The dollar sign, I think it is. Jackie Ward's given me 3 red hearts. That means I can go, so I'm going. Until we meet again, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, hey, hey. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.